Speaker, there are, as mentioned in the Marshall Plan, 123,000 people living in poverty in Mauritius. This is a very important matter for all of us here in this House. I'd like to start with housing. Can the Honourable Minister tell us how many people on the NEF waiting list at the moment? How many people are there on the waiting list on the National Empowerment Foundation at the moment waiting for a house?
Madam Speaker, as far as I know, I've been informed, there are all those who are being waiting are being taken care, and there are new we are going for investigation, but there are 118 that are waiting.
Only 180 people. This is, Madam, this is Alice in Wonderland. Only 180 people waiting for the house at the moment at the NEF. The poor will take note of that. Madam Speaker, I would like to, this is absolutely untrue. There are thousands of people waiting. I would like to ask the Honourable Minister, how many, do I take it, have I understood correctly, that not one single house has been built by the NEF since 1st January 2016? Did I get it right?
As I've answered to the question, because the decision has been taken, it will be the Ministry of Housing that are constructing the houses, but 10% of all the houses being built by the Ministry of Housing will be allocated to the NEF. That's why the reason, so that not to have duplication in different ministries, we don't build on both sides.
Madam Speaker, maybe the Honourable Minister has not read what the Honourable Minister of Finance, the then Minister of Finance, said in his last budget, which is that a decent shelter is the next most important lever to lift families out of poverty. And he was providing for billions of rupees to be, including 800 housing units in the Marshall Plan for the next 3 years. What has happened to the 800 units? Are there any houses at all under construction or planned to be constructed by the NEF?
As far as I've been informed, that we are in the process, and I answered to it, we are in the process, and by the end of this month, we are getting all the bids, and we should be starting construction.
Madam Speaker, is the Minister aware that his National Empowerment Foundation has just accepted a tender for 141 houses? Is he aware of that in rural constituencies? He's not aware?
I'm not expecting this. No, not from a sitting position.
So if the Honourable Leader of the Opposition are in front of some answers, you know it better than me, then that you're confirming that we receive a bid.
Honourable Minister, please address the chair. Don't address the Leader of the Opposition directly. You have to address the chair.
800 units over the next 3 years, Madam, and around 150 housing units are to be constructed at Xavier-Luc Duval under the Decent Shelter Program. Tenders for 140 fully concrete housing units have been received.
There you are, the tender for 141 houses. This is what's already been approved by the NEF. I'm going to table a copy of the board minutes, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to ask the Minister whether he knows what is the price of these houses and where they will be. Has he cared to find out where these houses will be constructed? Because none of these houses are going to be constructed in any pockets of poverty as we know them from constituency number 1, his own constituency, up to constituency number 6, and from constituency number 15 up to 20, where the majority of the poor are. This is a scandal in itself, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I just answered myself. You know that Xavier-Luc, in Beji-Tombo, where the Honourable Leader of the Opposition himself, he went several times. We are already in front of all the plans that are to be constructed. We are in the process of building all these. And in constituency number 1, itself, in December, as far as I know, there were about 80% who have benefited from houses that has been constructed and who are there. And still, I went personally, Madam Speaker, 2 weeks ago to make an assessment, and we are looking with different ministries and how is the way forward so that we can accommodate all these people with houses.
All that has been done so far is delivering houses that were contracted by the previous government, and that is the shame, Madam Speaker. I wanted to come to the price of the houses. He mentioned when I was Minister of Social Integration, we were building a house, 31 square meters, 465,000 rupees, Madam Speaker. Today, this house, a little bit bigger, 40 or 50 square meters, is costing more than 800,000 rupees. And these houses were... I will have to give I have to show, Madam Speaker, that the houses were being sold at 500 rupees per month. Now they are being sold as 240,000 rupees. Is that correct for the poor?
Madam Speaker, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition has figures that he must consider. By the time every price has gone up, and secondly, all these houses, they are not in concreted CCIS now, they are in fully concrete. And thirdly, because if you compare to 30 meters to nearly 60 meters, this is double. The price is right, 350 which gone to 700,000 rupees. But sometimes these prices, which is up to 900,000 rupees, but they include the infrastructure around, so that because we do cater for infrastructures, I myself, I ask for these infrastructures to be built around the houses.
The result is no houses being constructed. I will table this board paper where you will see that they are not 60 meters, they are 50 square meters or 40 square meters. So the member here is misleading the House, Madam Speaker. Now, if I may, I'll move on to the Marshall Plan.
Honourable Leader of Opposition, you just said that, please sit down. Yes. No, you just said that the Honourable Minister has misled the House, and are you saying that he's misled the House? Otherwise, then you take your responsibility and you'll have to table papers to show that he's misled the House.
The paper, here it is. This is the brief for tender construction. Number of housing units concerned, 141, 136 houses of 50 square meters and 5 of 40 square meters. This is going to be tabled, Madam Speaker. You have to come and be accurate in the House, especially when you're dealing with the poor who are suffering. It's very well to take Mr. Alvaro to visit Royal Park, but this is also important, Madam Speaker. Now, I'm going to now deal with the social contract. Order, please. Order.
Right. Honourable Leader of Opposition, please ask your questions, but don't bring in unwarranted remarks and comments.
I take it that Mr. Alvaro is unparliamentary now? No. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't get what you said. I said that you shouldn't bring in the contents of your question, remarks or unwarranted things.
Speaker, the truth no doubt hurts. Madam Speaker, I'm going now to come to the Marshall Plan. The Marshall Plan was delivered to government. You can laugh, it's not a laughing matter. The Marshall Plan was delivered to government on 4th of December 2015, nearly 18 months ago. I'm going to ask now why the Marshall Plan has not been published and when it will be published. Simple question.
Madam Speaker, I know that the Marshall Plan is on the way to being finalized with some all the guidelines, and we will consider to table it as soon as possible. And I wish to come back also to the answer that I given around 60 square meters. What I try to say is 30 meters to 50 meters is closer to the, more than half of to what it was. In fact, it is true. It is 50 meters, but sometimes when contractors build houses, they are not exactly, because most of the time we have been measuring the houses itself, and they are over, most of the time they are over 50 square meters.
Order. You finished? Do you have anything else to say?
Like I said, concerning the Marshall Plan, also I'll make up the matter with the Prime Minister that the Marshall Plan must be made public.
At least we got that. But I'm going to table the master plan so he doesn't have to bother. I'm going to say, Madam Speaker, why has government made 123,000 people, and all the NGOs and all the companies interested in combating poverty, why have they had to wait 1.5 years for this PNQ to say that they will be aware now of what there is in the Marshall Plan and that it is going public? What is the reason for having held on to it?
Madam Speaker, there's one thing I want to take 1 minute to explain. There's a very thin layer between to assist poverty and to make people become the l'assistanat. And that is the reason that the government has been very careful in all the decisions that have been taken. In the last part of my reply earlier, also I said, we must take the example of other countries that they have backpedaled when it's come to assistance to people to poverty. That's why we take time for this, but we make sure that we do the right thing.
Yeah, I want to come to this. The Marshall Plan doesn't only deal with absolute poverty, I'm sure the Minister knows, but it deals with poverty in general, 123,000 people. I'd like to ask the Honourable Minister, what has happened to for instance, the housing rental subsidy program? What has happened to the public works program, which is aimed at providing employment to the very poor? What has happened to the enterprise incubator, to the decentralized offices of NEF? We have this for the last 1.5 years. This has been on the table, in a drawer, probably, because people have been perhaps busy doing other things. What has happened to the social contract scheme? What has happened to all this?
You can ask him one question at a time, right? One question at a time. Honourable Bhagwan.
Madam Speaker, as far as I've been trying to catch up all the different questions in one, and all these measures are being taken care and they are underway. I can assure the House that the NEF is working on all these items and we are doing what is needed to be.
Because the truth is, I'm sure everybody and people watching at home will know that there are no houses being constructed and hardly anything from the Marshall Plan has been put in practice. I want to ask the Honourable Minister whether he is aware that in the Marshall Plan recommends the abolition of the social aid scheme on which there are at the moment 18,000 families on that social aid scheme. Is the Minister aware of that, and does the Minister subscribe to that part of the Marshall Plan?
In the Marshall Plan, it's true there are new venues that are to be explored. And it's true that we found out, like I said, there are many families that come because they're free grant. They are grant to be obtained from the government. So they all come. There are many families that doesn't found themselves into the social register to be poor, in fact. We have found so many cases, even people who receive. Of course I have to get the answers. and all this will be phased out gradually. That's what I have to say, Madam Speaker.
Saying that the social aid will be phased out. Is that what you're saying?
Madam Speaker.
Yes, please explain.
Let me explain again. There are a number of families that are waiting, as the leader of the opposition is saying. But the Marshall Plan itself is not taking out the poor people from the plan, from the social plan. It is not. I don't know what's written. What we are doing, we are streamlining to know what the exact who are poor people and who are not poor people.
Madam Speaker, page 10 of the Marshall Plan, progressively phasing out social aid. So you should read it. For 3 months you've had to read it. I'll ask the Minister now concerning, he mentioned assistana. You should read it, take some time, genuine advice, take some time, read it. Now, Madam Speaker, on so far as assistana is concerned and empowerment, we know it's two different things. Empowerment is people to become self-sufficient. Assistana is the other way. Now, we have 8,000 people on this new social monthly subsistence. Is the Minister aware that in the last budget, I get the page if you want, huh? It mentions 13,250 people and 60 people who have already been included on the SRM with a threshold per family of 6,400 rupees only. How is it that you increase the threshold to 9,520 and you get less people than there was in the 2016-17 budget? I can get the page for you.
Madam Speaker, all these families are just getting additional allowance to what they have already after the inquiry being carried on. And coming back again to the phasing out of the social aid, it's normal because this is what we are aiming, so that we empower people. So when people are empowered, why should they be on social aid? Well, the aim is to phase out completely. This is normal.
You're going to phase out 18,000 people because 8,000 people are on. Thank you, Minister. You made it very clear. Thank you very much. Now, so far as this, talking about page 257 of the budget, registration of 13,267 households with a monthly income of less than 6,200 under the social register of Mauritius. This is what the previous minister had as his main achievements in 2015-16. What happened? My question is simple. What happened to the 5,000 people who have disappeared from that same social register? Families.
Madam Speaker, 13,267 eligible households under the previous assignment were with poverty threshold of 6,200 rupees only. The new SRM database, the new SRM database of eligible households takes also into account the social benefits derived from the applicants, which was not the case before. Registration of applicants and the SRM is ongoing.
That's an answer. Thank you. The first answer I got today. Now, I'm going to ask this. Assistana empowerment. You know that everybody who's getting the monthly amount is signing a social contract. What does that social contract entail? What empowerment program are you doing at the moment? Because my information is that there is not a single program that is being given to these 8,000 people so to empower them and to get them to be self-sufficient. Not a single one at this present moment.
Madam Speaker, rightly known that all the beneficiaries have to sign a social contract, and the case management are all on the fields, and they are doing their job to try to empower these people. I can't understand why. Where is said that we are not doing the job? We are receiving every day, and the people, the case management are on the fields every day.
Maybe I should explain, Madam Speaker. I'm sorry. Yeah? There's education. There's training for people who are not trained. No, it's not true. Give me one single program, even your little paper. There is, Madam Speaker, people who cannot read or write. There are people who don't have houses, we know that. People who don't have water. This is all in the social contract, Madam Speaker, to enable them to be empowered. And at the moment, we are just paying for the last 5 months, people, and not a single I may be exaggerating, but not empowerment program has been put in place.
Madam Speaker, empowerment programs are being undertaken by the ministries, by line ministries of different agencies. The task of the NEF is to refer the beneficiaries to the referent agencies.
Yes. Honourable Leader of Opposition, I'll allow you your last question because time would be over.
I don't know whether my colleagues want a chance to add because Okay, Madam Speaker, I wanted to take two cases because it's all about people at the end of the day. One case here, Mrs. Xavier-Luc, very sad case. I want to give the Minister a chance here. She was sent a letter by National Empowerment Foundation to come and pick up 25,000 rupees. She lives in Zilopuri, Le Monde.
Yes.
25,
No,
I won't be long.
Don't make a long statement.
I
Also
won't.
question.
But this is what it's all about, Madam Speaker.
Over.
People is what it is all about. It is all what it, okay? She came to Port Louis and she got nothing. She was told to go back home because she would not get the money. Another one, living in his own constituency, Mrs. Rose. She was given a letter to pick up 3,000 rupees. I'm finishing, Madam Speaker.
Let me tell you that I don't think the Honourable Minister will have information on a case-to-case basis. So he will not be able to reply to you on each case. So if you could put your question generally on that issue, he may be able to reply so as not to lose time because we are already ahead of time.
I'd like to ask the Minister to look personally into these cases which are real hardship and to say that this is not symptomatic of the disaster that there is now at the National Empowerment Foundation. That was the question.
Madam Speaker, if it is the opinion of the leader of the opposition, I can't stop the opinion. But the fact is, there's a reality that there are so many people. We are all politicians in this house. Everywhere we go, we know people asking for house, asking for grants and all. But there's a way of doing it. You know how to do it because there must be inquiry carrying on. The last time I was in Beach-Tombo, there was a house that took fire, Madam Speaker, and I was asked to go and do the necessary. Madam Speaker, allow me. And we found out that in one of this family, when we calculate the amount of money, it's more than 100,000 rupees to receive. Madam Speaker, I'm given to understand.
Order, please. Order. Order. He is not taking a case-to-case basis. As I said, generally speaking, you put your question on a general nature and he's replying on a general nature. Please finish off because time...
Madam Speaker, to conclude, I'm given to understand that only 58 houses were constructed during 2011 when the leader of the opposition was Minister of Social Integration as compared...
Please sit down. Please sit down. Please sit down. Yes. What is your point of view?
The Minister is misleading the House. We built 1,400 houses in that year. Go and check.
Now, as I said, leader of opposition, if you are saying that he's misleading the House, this is very serious and you will have to put evidence in front of the House that he has in fact misled the House. Time is over.